Okay. Shall we? Oh. Shuklam Baradaram Vishnum Sashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannabadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vigno Pashantaye Dorbhiryukta Chaturbhir Spatikamanimai Makshamalam Dadhana Haste Naikena Padmam Sitamapi Shukam Pustakam Chaparena Bhasa Kundendu Shankas Patikamani Nibha Pasamana Samana Same Vagdevateyam Nivasatu Vadane Sarvada Suprasanna Pujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam Valmikir Munisimhasya Kavita Vanacharinaha Shunvan Rama Katanadam Konayati Param Gatim Goshpati Kritavarashim Mashaki Kritarakshasam Ramayana Mahamala Ratnam Vande Nilatmajam Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam Tatra Tatra Kritamastakāñjalim Pashpavari Paripurnalochanam Marutim Namatarakshasantakam Vaidehi Sahitam Suradrumatale Haime Mahamandape Madhye Pushpakamasane Manimaye Virasane Sustitam Agre Vachayati Prabhanjate Tattva Vyakyantam Bharatadibi Parivritam Ramam Bhaje Syamalam Namostu Ramaya Salakshmanaya Devi Chatasyai Janakatmajayai Namostu Yamanilebhyah Namostu Rudrendrayam Somebody is okay. So last time we were in a situation where Lakshmana has been sent out of the hermitage. So everything is now set for Ravana to do the most cruel act that he wanted to. That's where we stopped. So today we will continue from there and see a few more sargas. So 46th sarga, as Lakshmana leaves the hermitage, Ravana was just waiting for that in the guise of a Brahman as an ascetic. So he gets in. That's what happens. There are 37 verses, and the first 12 verses, Lakshmana leaves and Ravana approaches the hermitage. All those shlokas are there. The next 20 shlokas, Ravana gives a description of Sita, her physical appearance, all that, which itself Sita should have put Sita in doubt. But in all her next 9 shlokas also. But Sita is very ignorant. Genuinely, she thinks he is a Brahmin. So she offers him water, food, and all that, not knowing what is in store for her. So that's what happens in this particular sarga. We'll see a few shlokas here. Look at how Valmiki is describing what happened when Ravana came. When Ravana came to really pick her up, there are certain descriptions. These two are very famous. So I thought I will take these 2 shlokas because it tells what is behind all that. Look at here. Tamugram papakarmanam janastanaruhadrumah sandrishya na prakampante na pravati cha marutaha tam ugram papa karmanam. All these are Ravana. On seeing him, sandrishya. Sandrishya is the second line. Tam ugram papa karmanam sandrishya. Having seen this cruel fellow who came there, janasthana ruha drumaha, the trees which are in that vicinity of janasthana, na prakampante. This kampana is to shake, right? Kampana is to, there's a bhukampa. Bhukampa is shaking the earth, no? That's the earthquake, actually. So, kampana is to shake. So, na prakampante. So, the trees were not, they are still. You know, in movies also, when there is something, they put a still picture to just, show it is like that. Valmiki is saying that drumaha na prakampante, na pravati cha marutaha. The wind was not blowing. So this is a very figurative expression here. Wind was not blowing and the trees were still is an expression to show how much was the fear that he actually generates. It's more an expression of that he is really terrorizing. He is a very fearsome character as things stand at that point. To describe that, these shlokas are brought. It says the trees are not waving or shaking, whatever you call it. It looked as though the wind has stopped to blow. Then look at the next shloka. Shigras strotaschatam drishtva vikshantam raktalochanam stimitam gandumarebhe bayat godavari nadi tam raktalochanam vikshantam drishtva. He was, reddish eye. I mean, see, when you have high pressure, the blood vessels burst. That's how the blood comes to your eye. Eye sometimes red because somehow the blood vessels break. Because very tense. He is very tense. He is very, So raktalochanam tam vikshantam, looking at he was looking at Sita, where he was wanting to take her away. So tam vikshantam raktalochanam drishtva, having seen, what happened? Shigrastotascha Godavari, the Godavari which swiftly flows normally, right? Stimitam gantumarbe, it started to go slow. I mean, these are all very poetic expressions. The river slowed down. The swift flowing river slowed down. The wind more or less stopped blowing. The trees were not waving. And there are some about the animals also. I mean, all these are an expression that this fellow is absolutely cruel. These are all the expressions normally used by the Kavis. That he is such a bad fellow. Not only is bad fellow, he is very terrorizing in nature. So when he approached Sita, this whole scenario is expressed with so many of a few more shlokas. I just took a couple of them just to tell how is this character that Ravana is. That's what is being described with these shlokas. There are a few more shlokas also. So next sarga, 47th sarga, 50 verses in that sarga. And first of all, Ravana asks, who are you? So she gives the complete narration that they got married. She says, I am 16 years and Ravana is 25. Rama is 25 years. There are some, Panchavimshati and Shodasi and all those are there. The numbers are there, actually. And she says, we got married and then this Kaikeyi, all that, she explained the whole story. And she said, that's how I am here. So that entire story is once again narrated precisely to Ravana, saying we are Dasharatha's Snusha, daughter-in-law and all that. Then Ravana reveals, he doesn't change his form yet. He is still a Brahman. He is in the guise of a Brahman, but he reveals his identity as Ravan. It is one thing to say I am Ravan, one thing to show you as Ravan. That he does in the next sarga. At the moment he says I am Ravan. And he tempts her to come along with him. On hearing this, Sita is deeply anguished. and she spits fire on Ravana. She says a few things. You'll destroy. What are you trying to do? You can't do all this. There are a few shlokas like that. She actually is very angry at Ravana. First emotion she had was anger. Then it was fear. First emotion was anger. And then came the fear after he changed his form. When he showed his true form, it was really fear engulfed her and so on. So look at some of the shlokas here. Dadyan na pratigrhniyat satyam bruyan na chanrutam etad brahmana ramasya dhruvam vratam. When Ravana expressed his desire that you should come with me, then Sita talks about Rama. He says, do you know what Rama is? I tell you what Rama is. He says, Dadyat na pratigrhniyat. If he gives something, he doesn't take back. It may be a word, it may be riches. He gave the kingdom and came. It may be the riches, it may be a word that he has given, it may be an abhayam. Abhayam sarva bhutebhyah dadami etat vratam mama. That's what he says in Yuddhakanda. When Vibhishana came, everybody said, no, we should not entertain him. But Rama says to Hanuman at that time, go out and see if he's Ravana, bring him. If anybody comes saying Abhaya, I will give. So that is the character. He says, Dadyat na pratigrihniyat. He never takes back what he gives, whether a word or dana or whatever. Satyam bruyat, nacha anrutam. He talks satya. He doesn't talk asatya. He will not do all those. You don't know what character my husband is. You have no idea. Dadyat na pratigrihniyat, satyam bruyat, nacha anrutam. Etat ramasya dhruvam vratam anuttamam. This is the strength of the character of my husband called Rama. What he gives, he will not take back. He will speak truth and truth alone, nothing else. And this is the kind of, this is the vrata for him. This is his lifetime commitment. It is his deep commitment in his lifetime. He says, hey Brahmana, because he is still the disguise of a Brahmin only. So she is not, doing a Sambodhana of Ravana. She still say Brahmana only because he is still in the guise of a Brahmin only. So etat Brahmana Ramasya Vratam Anuttamam. These are all the great virtues of the character called Rama. So what are you trying to do? That's what she says. But later towards the end of the chapter, she very anguished when he made that sort of an offer. So a few things. So she compares Rama and Ravana with a set of shlokas. All the shlokas are interesting. I just brought one or two. All are very interesting. Very contrast she talks about. Tvam punarjambukak simhim mamichasi sudurlabham naham shakya tvaya sprashtum adityasya prabhayata. Tvam punaha jambukaha. You are a jackal. You are like a jackal. Jambuka is jackal actually. Tvam punar jambukaha. Right? I am a simhi, lioness. Simhim mam ichasi. It is like a jackal wanting a lioness. So that is the example she gives. It is like a jackal wanting a lioness. That's sudurlabham. That's not going to happen. Jackal can never want a lioness unless it is dead. It can, on the caricature, it can, feed on it, but not a, living lioness. So she says, you are like a jackal. I am like a lioness, and you are looking for something which is not going to happen. That's the first thing she says. Naham shakya tvaya prashtum. You cannot even touch me. It's impossible for you to touch me. You cannot even touch me. How? Adityasya prabhayata. It is like touching the prabha of Aditya. You will burn. Any attempt you make, you will only burn. How can you go and touch, the radiance of the sun? You can see it from a distance. You can't. If you go, the more you go near, you will burn into ashes. It's like that. She says, Na aham shakya toya sprashtum adityasya prabhayata. Just like nobody can take a sparsh of the Aditya's radiance. You can at best see it. You can't go near it. I am like that. I am a lioness and you are a jackal and you are interested in this kind of a thing, is what she actually asked through this shloka. Kshuditasya hi simhasya mrigashatrostarasvinah asi vishasya mukat damstram adatum ichchasi. Kshudi tasyahi. I mean, Kshudi is a very, it's a useless, bad idea. It's a low level idea. What is that? Right? Simhasya mukat. This is like Simhasya mukat mrigaha shatros tarasvinah ashivishasya simhasya. See, deer and a lion, deer and a lion. It's a, the deer is the prey of the lion. So she says, you are like a deer. And it looks as though you are actually going into the mouth of a lion and trying to pull one teeth out of it. This is what you are trying to attempt. He says, drashtam, drashtam adhatum ichasi. Damstram adhatum ichasi. Damstra is the teeth. You are trying to pull out a teeth. Simhasya mukat. Asi vishasya simhasya mukat is ferocious and powerful lion. And you are like a deer. And what you are attempting is you are trying to pull the teeth out of the lion's mouth. You will only perish. That's a thing that she says. Akshi, she gives quite a few examples actually. She gives quite a few examples of how inappropriate is what you are actually attempting at. That's what there are so many. I just picked up only a few of them. Akshi suchya pramrjasi jihvaya lekshi chakshuram ragavasya priyam bharyam yodighantum tvamichasi. Ragavasya priyam bharyam, the beloved wife of Raghava, which is Sita. Ragavasya priyam bharyam yaha adigantum, you want to overpower and take over. Tvam ichasi, you are interested in taking away the beloved wife of Rama. And do you know what it is like that? She gives two more examples here. She says, Akshi suchya pramrijyasi. Pramrijyasi. Mrijanam is cleaning actually. So you are using a needle to clean your eye. You are going to destroy your eye. By doing it, unwittingly doing things, you are destroying. How can you use a needle to clean something in the eye? You can use a soft brush. So he says, Suchya Akshi Pramrijasi. That's one example she gives. Another example she gives, Jihvaya, you are licking a laser sharp sword with your tongue. The tongue will get cut. Right? Jihva is actually tongue. Right? Lekshi is, that's why it's called Lehya. Lehya is that which has to be eaten by licking. That's why, Lehya you can't eat in any other way. You have to lick it actually. There are Panchavida, there are 5 types of food. Chaturvida. Pachamanya aham vaishwanaro bhutva praninam dehamashita. In 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he says, aham vaishwanaro bhutva praninam dehamashita pranapana samakritva pachami annam chaturvidam. There are 4 types of food which I cook. I am the Vaishwanara in every one of you. I cook 4 types of food. What are they? One is called Bhakshyam. Bhakshyam is the grinder. Some muruku or something like that. You have to, fried item, no? That is like a grinder. With the teeth, you have to grind. That's called Bhakshya. Then Bhojyam. Bhojyam is the cooked rice. You don't need the hard teeth, but generally you can chew and eat. That kind of thing is called Bhojyam. Okay? Then Chushyam. Chushyam is juice. That's what juice came. Chushyam is one you have to suck. Liquid, typically liquid. This is called Chushyam. And 4th is called Lehyam, which you have to lick. Some semi-solid liquid kind of a stuff. You have to, only lick. So that is why Lekshi. Lekshi is the verb form. So you are trying to use your tongue and you are trying to lick a razor sharp kshura, sword, or a knife or whatever. You are trying to use a razor sharp item You are using your tongue to sort of lick it. Your tongue will be cut. So what she's saying is you are doing things which will, the act will result in you perishing. That is a common message in all of them. So she kept on for a few shlokas. I just picked a few shlokas just to give a sense of what she was telling Ravana. Yadantaram simha shigalayorvane yadantaram syandinika samudrayoh suragryasi sauvīrakayor yadantaram tadantaram vai tavaragavasya cha. Longer meter, end of the chapter. So Anushtum 44, it will be 44, 11, 11, 11, 11 actually. So you say again, here she compares Rama with Ravana. She contrasts Rama and Ravana. Yadantaram simha shrighalayorvanehe. It is like a difference in a forest between a lion and a jackal. It's a huge difference between a lion and a jackal in a forest. In a forest, the lord of the forest is a lion. Jackal is some, all other ways you have to find your way of living. So he says, what it is that I see is simha shrighalayoho vane. That is one example she says. This is you and Rama is like the difference between a lion and a jackal. Yadantaram syandinika samudrayoho. That's the second thing. Syandinika is a ditch, a small little pit in which there is a little bit of water, which is potholes in which there is a little bit of water. No, that is the Syandinika. And Samudra. Samudra is a vast sheet of water. The alaya of water is Samudra. Whereas this small little portion is parts per million kind of a situation. She is saying you are like a anu. You are like an atomic particle in front of Rama. That is a compare and contrast between you and Rama. Then he says, Suragriya Sauvirakayoho Edantaram. There's the next one. She says, Sura is this wine. Okay? Sauvirakayaha is some, some kind of a sour kanji kind of a thing, right? So he says it is again a difference between because the Surah is given respect here because at that point in time, in certain occasions, they are supposed it has its own respect. That's why it is in a respectable way it is being brought here. So she gives three contrasting examples here. It is like a difference between a jackal and a lion. It is like a pit of dirty water in a small little thing compared to a sagra. It's like a sour kanji vis-a-vis somapana or something like that. So that's what again. Yadantaram kanchanas sisalohayoh yadantaram chandana vari pankayoh yadantaram hasti bidalayorvane tadantaram dasharate stataivacha. So the difference between you, that Dasharathasya putra, which is Rama, and Tavaiva, with you, the difference between the two of you is, again she gives a few more examples. Kanchana is gold, right? Kanchana lohayo, sisalohayoho, that metal which is called lead. Sisalohayoho. The difference between lead and gold, that is the difference between you and Ravana. So that's what he says, Kanchana and Sisaloha. Sisaloha is that metal which is that lead. Okay. Then Chandana vari pankayoho. Then he says the difference is between Chandana, vari panga is mud, right? Vari is water. In other words, mud which is wet, slush. The correct word is slime or slush. When there is a rain, after the rain, there you have a lot of slush. No, he says the difference between slush and sandalwood paste. That is the difference between you and Ravana. Then he says Hasti Vidalayoho. Vidala is cat, Hasti is elephant. One is Gambira and gigantic and powerful. Other is it's other ways of smartly doing things and getting a few things done and so on and so forth. So again, there are many shlokas. Essentially, she was telling him, you are no match to Rama, and you are aiming for something which is you are not going to get. Three messages she gives. You are no match to Rama. You are aiming things which you won't get. And thirdly, what you are doing will only destroy you. So the other examples were of that kind. What you are attempting will only destroy you. Taking a sharp, knife and then flicking it on the, like that. Those kinds of examples. Anyway, he is not going to listen to any of those. So in the next sarga, 48th sarga, Ravana was insisting that Sita must go along with him. So he was hell-bent. He has come only for that. So he is not going to. So many people actually advised him at every. Jatayu has some very wonderful messages. We will see it today. Some of the messages. So what Ravana did in return, he boasted of his greatness. He actually showed his Swarupa. Then he showed, I am so powerful, and he talks so ill of Rama. In several places he does it. He talks so bad of Rama, and that's why he lost. If you don't make a realistic estimate of the opponent, you have lost the game already. This is a very important message. When we have to do something, if we overestimate or underestimate, either ways, overestimate oneself or grossly underestimate the opponent, the game is almost lost. This is one thing which he did. He talked so bad of Rama. I'll show a couple of shlokas. That was the 13th to 20th shloka. He talked in a very, very filthy way. And he said, this fellow is not even there, he will die. All that kind of things he keeps talking about. And again, Sita admonishes Ravana and says, you will perish. No, but your attempting is not going to be of any good to you. She again tries to sort of tell him. Bunjana manushan bhogan divyam shavara varnini nasmarishyasi ramasya manushasya gatayushaha. Look at the kind of words he uses. Ramasya manushasya. He is an ordinary human being. Manusha. He is a manushya. Ramasya manushasya gatayushaha. His days are numbered. Yasya ayuhu gataha saha gatayushaha. His days are numbered. This is Ravana's understanding of Rama. This fellow has been thrown into the forest. He has nothing. He has been chased out of his kingdom. He is just living in the forest, trying to find out how to have his fruits and food and all. He will not survive for too long. This is his impression of Rama. Gatayushaha. He says, Manushasya Ramasya Gatayushaha. Nasmarishyasi, nobody will remember. You are talking so great about your husband. His days are numbered. Nobody will even remember Rama. Nasmarishyasi. This is what he says about Rama. Bunjana Manushan Bhogan Divyamsha Varavarnini. Right? Whereas if you come with me, you can enjoy. You can revel in enjoyment. Food. You have people to take care of you. You have all Divyan Bhogan. You can revel in all sensory pleasures, whatever you want. Everything you can do. These fellow people will not even remember. His days are numbered. He's gone. What are you talking about? Nobody will even remember Rama. This is what he says about Rama. Then, Stapayitva priyam putram rajya dasharatena yaha mandavirya suto jeshtaha tata prastapito vanam. Stapayitva, having established, having put in place, priyam putram, which is Bharata. This is what he says. Priyam putram rajya dasharatena. Bharata has been installed as a king because actually Dasharatha is fond of Bharata. So he has been installed as a king. And what happened? He is a Mandavirya. Who? Rama. The other son, Mandavirya Sutaha, is a reference to Rama. He is a dull, he doesn't have, otherwise he should have fought. Otherwise he should have fought. Mandaviryaha sutaha cheshtaha. His eldest son is a dull fellow, right? Tataha prastapitaha. He has been sent to the forest. What you are talking so much about your husband? He is actually a dull fellow. Dasharatha actually liked only his second son Bharata. So he threw him into the forest and established him as the king. His days are anyway numbered. He is an ordinary human being who exists or doesn't exist. Why are you bothered about all that? You come with me. The whole world is under me. So many shlokas. I didn't bring all those shlokas. You will have the Aishwarya of the highest order. This man is gone. So this is how he is actually telling to Sita of Rama and saying how he is so great and these are all useless people. You are wasting your time. That's how Ravana says. Tena kim brashtarajyena ramena gata chetasa karishyasi visalakshi tapasena tapasvina. Ramena gata chetasa. He has lost his mind. His chitta is gone. He's a gata yasya chittaha gataha saha gata chetaha. Tasya tritiya vibhakti gachate chetasa. That's the third case. That is the adjective for Ramena. Right? Tena Ramena gata chetasa brashtya rajyena, who has been banished from a kingdom. Tena tapasena, he is like an ascetic sitting there. What can he do? What are you talking? He is capable of nothing. He neither has power, nor has army with him, nor wealth, nothing. He has lost his chitta also, his mind also. He has been, banished from the kingdom. He is all lost. He is like ascetic sitting. What can he do? This is what he says. What can he do? He has nothing. Right? Kim karishyasi. Right? Hey, Visalakshi. That is an adjective for Sita. What can this Rama do? He cannot do anything. He is all banished and sent, and he has lost his mind also. He has nothing with him. He is like ascetic. He can't do anything. Then look at what he says. Angulyana samo ramo mama yuddhe samanushaha tava bhagyena sampraptam bhajasva varavarnini. He says he is not even equal to my Anguli. Angulya na samaha ramaha yuddhe. Saha manushaha, he is an ordinary human being. He will not even equal to my thumb. He will not even equal to my thumb. Angulyana samaha ramaha mama yuddhe sa manushaha. Right? Tava bhagyena it is your good fortune I have come here. Bhagyena tava sampraptam bhajasva. Enjoy. Make use of it. Why are you thinking about him? He is not even equal to my thumb. So this was one of the biggest reason why Ravana was destroyed. He had such a poor opinion about Rama, which was a total error of judgment. It's not a small error of judgment. It was a total error of judgment. When you make such a massive error of judgment, destroying, getting destroyed is for sure. He made such a total error. He did not make small error of judgment in several places. You will see it in Sundarakandam also. He will say the same thing again. Whether he is there or not and all that. He had completely despite the fact that Maricha told him, and he has seen it already. Kara and Dushana and 14,000 asuras have been killed. Should he has not to take it a little serious? So much of ahankara, so much of garva, so much of this heart and conceit that I am capable of anything, nothing. When people get blindfolded like that, vinasha. Need not be war. In life, when we are so blindfolded, and we get blindfolded many often because of ahankar, it is at its best. That was Ravana's problem. He blindfolded him so much, he grossly underestimated Rama. That made his end. But he laments, he thinks about all of that in the Yuddha Kanta. He actually realizes, did I make a mistake? It was too late. As a Kshatriya, he will not step out of that. He'll rather surrender to death. He will not step out of it. That was too late. You see it in Yuddha Kanda also. His realization much later. So 49 Sarga, he actually takes her away. I mean, the way he takes her away, I'll show you the shloka. It's really terrible how he lifted Sita. There's no shloka actually. It's terrible when you read that shloka. It's a violence. It's a physical violence more than anything. In addition to the mental violence she went through. That's a different thing. 41 verses here. So Ravana displays his physical might and insists that Sita accepts him as a. Now he gets into the next level. Talking is not working. So he is muscle power now. That's what he is attempting. 16 to 29, Ravana physically carries away Sita in his chariot, and Sita screams aloud in fear, and now she is overpowered by fear and agony. First it was anger, now it was fear and agony actually. That's what happened. And Valmiki as a Kavi describes how she was praying to the animals, how she was talking to the forest, to the trees, those kinds of poetic description of the trauma that she was going through. Those shlokas are there. And to the end of the Sarga, we find that she sees Jatayu. Jatayu, just now then they met. A few Sargas back only we saw. So sees Jatayu on the way. Look at how he lifted Sita. This shloka you just see. Vamena Sitam Padmakshim Murdajeshu Karena Saha Urvostu Dakshinenaiva Parijagraha Panina. He used his Vamahasta, left hand, and what did he do? Vamena Sitam Padmakshim Murdajeshu. The hair in the Murda, this is the Murdni. This part is called meaning skull. So she lifted her with his left hand, she lifted her using her hair. That's what the first line is saying. Vamena Sitam Padmakshim Murdajeshu Karena Saha. Then her thighs, Urva. Uru is thigh, no? So Urva was to Dakshinene. So literally, he lifted like this and lifted like this. And just carried. That is the description. It's a physical violence more than anything. In addition to the mental violence, it is abusing the modesty of a woman in the worst possible way, actually. Imagine, lifting a person like this, lift her, take her hair as a handle, lift her like that, and then lift her with her thighs, and then just take. That's what Valmiki has described. He says, Vamena Padmakshim Sitam Murdajeshu Vamena Karena Saha, right? Urvostu Dakshinenaiva Parijagraha Panina, using his hand. Nanu Sadyo Vinitasya Drishyate Karmana Phalam Kalo Pyangi Bhavatyatra Sasyanamiva Paktaye. Now Valmiki brings a Lokaniti now. When this act happened, immediately Valmiki says something very interesting. He says, Nanu, is it not so? Nanu in Sanskrit means, is it not so? We ask like that, no, in English. That's why he say Nanu. Nanu means, is it not so? Aisa hai kya? We say that, no, in Hindi. So Nanu is that actually. Sadhya Avinitasya. Sadhya, now, something that has happened now. Sadhya Avinitasya Karmanaha. Sadhya Karmanaha Avinitasya Drishyate Palam. For many things that we do, see, the greatest strength of Sanatana Dharma is the karma theory. Karma is a very, very robust, very, very profound, very, very important thing which should guide our living. No karma will go waste. This is the bedrock of our living. Sanatana Dharma's central pillar is no karma can ever go waste. As you sow, you have to reap. Nobody can escape. That's why the karma, prarabdha karma, sanchita karma, agami karma, there is a very elaborate system of this karma. It is the central theme for good living. That is the only way by which evolution can be done. So this whole Sanatana Dharma ideas are very profound there actually. So he says, Nanu sadhyaha avinitasya karmanaha drishyate palam. Nobody can escape. What he did, he has to pay for it. And that will not happen immediately. Who said it will happen immediately? When you say immediately, when you say it will not happen immediately, don't think in this Janma, it can happen 100 Janmas later also. That is our karma theory. In other words, every moment we spend in our Janma, in a particular Janma, we actually collect karma. That karma goes into a repository actually. The way our living is styled, Sanatana Dharma is styled, is every moment that we do, we may collect karma, certain karma. It's like your loyalty points. You have to use the modern equivalence to that. As you keep on shopping, you get loyalty points. In the same way, as you do pravrti, right, you start accumulating the karma. But the karma gets accumulated somewhere. Now, our Sanatana Dharma says, your karma you have to expend. There are two very cardinal principles. First, your karma you have to expend. Second, you cannot write off a bad karma with a good karma. Good karma you have to separately expend. Bad karma you have to separate. This credit debit business will not work. This is another thing you have to understand. This credit debit will never work. People think that washing the we'll do some parihara and all. Karma is not like that. If you do good karma, you will get good things out of it. The bad karma will not be adjusted and net balance will never be given to you. If you are aware of it, we will clean up our karma. It's very important to know that. And all these Purana stories are only meant for it. Why, Sishupala and Kamsa and Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, so many Janmas, this story is again and again told to us to make us understand that what we invest until we take it out, this Janma will never get over. So it is like a tank in which karma is there. Now, out of which you dip into a bag. Whatever you can carry in one bag is called one Janma. So what you are going through in this Janma is not because of what you did now. You have dipped into the tank and you have prarabdha manufactures a body. Prarabdha means what in Sanskrit? Arabdha means started. Pra-arabdha, prakrishena arabdha means rightly started. It is like you have already left the arrow. After you have left the arrow, you cannot control the direction. You have left the arrow. The doll is there. You give full key. Until you keep it in your hand, it is fine. The moment you leave the doll down, the key will unwind. Spring will unwind. That is a Janma. So, which means what we go through in this Janma is from the tank. But you have an opportunity to either to add some more to the tank or not add some more to the tank. We can influence the future. This Janma you cannot influence. That is coming out of the past. You already accumulated. You only dipped and brought one bag. That one bag you are expending. That's why if something bad happens, people ask this question. I've been so good. Why bad things happen? Bad things happen not because you are good. Bad things happen because you brought the bag. Good things are all accumulating in another container. So be good. Be good is a good way to live, sensible way to live. Bad happening is past. The arrow is left already. Don't try to now talk about it. It will reach its destination. That is death. This is the central theory. So that's what he's saying. He's saying, Nanu sadhyaha avinitasya drishyate karmanaha palam. And he gives. Kalaha api angi bhavati yatra sasyanam iva paktaye. Just like this sasyas, you sow a seed. It takes 9 months for the paddy to grow. But if you sow the seed, it will one day ripen. The fruits will ripen. You put a mango seed. One day the mango fruit has to come. Like that, whatever acts we do, it will come back to us. Now Valmiki is saying the context of Ravana. Ravana cannot, he will have to face it. He will have to face the music. All that he did, he has to get it back. No discount, nothing. All that, for some it happens immediately, for some it happens in this Janma. All these can come anytime. There is no hard and fast rule. For some it will happen in a few hours. We have our own experiences in life. For some it will happen in a few hours. And for some it will happen before the end of the Janma. For some it has gone to the tank. You will dip it and bring it in the next Janma, or the next Janma after, or the Janma after, or any time. The Puranic stories are only bringing it again and again. That's why those stories are all always relating what was he in the previous avatar, what did you do, and therefore why did he come here. It is only to remind us that this continuity is what makes us. That's what Valmiki. So it's a Lokaniti is bringing, some profound concept he is bringing here. So Jatayu actually advises Ravana. How many people try to advise Ravana? Everybody tried telling him what you are doing is wrong. But Ravana was not at all listening to any of those. This is a nice sarga actually. This sarga you have to read separately. 50th sarga you should aramse read. Lot of good things to reflect on. 4-5 shlokas I bring good sarga. Jatayu brings a lot of lokaniti. I think what you are doing is not good. It doesn't meet the eye. He gives several examples actually. So first 9 shlokas, Jatayu reminds Ravana of the nobility of role of a king. Kshatriya is not an easy thing here. I'll tell you, in our Varna Dharma, Brahmana and Kshatriyas were actually in a sustaining role so that the others flourish. So that is why they were given a little important, but the responsibility is also so high. The role of Kshatriya and Brahmana was very high. So the requirements of them, and if they are not up to that, they will be resent and they will be punished. All the Manusmriti chapter 11, 12 and all you will find actually. While they put these people on the pedestal, but also tell them where will you fall. When you fall, where will you fall? Both are mentioned very categorically there. So he talks about the nobility of a king. First 9 shlokas. You are a king and this is the kind of thing you are doing. Jatayu asked. And then Jatayu warned Ravana of the very bad consequences of his act. And finally Jatayu says, you cannot pass through me. I will fight. I will not leave you. You cannot, take Sita and go away. I am not going to. But there's a very nice shloka. I will bring you the shloka. Jatayu says, you are a bacha in front of me. I ruled the kingdom for 60,000 years. You are a bacha. Like that he says actually. Because Ravana had this feeling, if you know the story, apparently he used 1,000 years, one head. He plugged, put it in the yajna. That's how he got this. So 9,000 years he did tapas. About to plug the 10th head only, Brahma came and all that stuff. Leave the number and all that. The point is, Ravana thinks he has been for long. So Jatayu first wanted to tell him, I have been much longer than you. That's why that shloka comes actually in Ramayana. Look at what Jatayu is saying. Nivartayamatim nicham paradara bhimarshanat natat samacharet dhiraha yat parosya vigarhayet yat paraha vihargayet. That others don't do. Others meaning learned people here actually. Received wisdom. There is a received wisdom all of us have. Correct? So if certain things are not to be done, it's a good thing not to do that. Because there is a received wisdom. After all, generation after generation, there is a certain wisdom which passes on. When technology can come and go, you can have internet, all that is fine. That wisdom has nothing to do with this technology. Wisdom is certain well understood things about life. So yat paraha asya vihargayet. That which is some others, not the learned peoples, they try to avoid. Better you avoid that. Na tat samacharet dhiraha. People who are dhiras, who uses their buddhi well, who have well-thinking people, generally they don't do things which are against the grain of received wisdom. That's what he's saying. Na tat samacharate, samyak acharet. Na tat samacharet dhiraha yat paraha asya vihargayet. That which is outside of our thing, leave it. People don't do that. And what is that? Nivartaya, nicham matim. You have such a bad buddhi. Your mati is a nicha. It is at the lowest level. And what is that? Paradara bihi amarshana. You are trying to take away somebody's wife. That is against the grain of received wisdom. This is a very low level thinking that you have. So why don't you nivartaya? Get rid of this idea. Get out of this nonsense that you are getting into. That is what he says. Dharma martam va kamam va sishta shastreshvanagatam vyavasan vyavasyantyanurachanam dharmam paulastyanandana. He is the son of Pulasta. So Paulastya. Paulastyanandana, the son of Paulastya, right? Pulasta. Dharmam, artham va, kamam va, right? These are the three purusharthas. Dharma, artha, kama. Dharmam, artham va, kamam va, right? Sishtaha shastreshu anagatam. See, Shastra lays a few things. See, this is no different from what we have now. See, somebody will write a constitution. Somebody will write the Constitution of India. Somebody will write Income Tax Act 1961. Companies Act, somebody will write. The act will be only about 20 pages. Bare act, if you see, it will be about 25 pages, 30 pages. Somebody will write, Ramayana will write a 2000-page book for Companies Act. Or, a guide to Income Tax Act will be about 2000 pages. This is the second book. Then you'll have some 200,000 pages. It's called case laws in taxes. You know what is the tatparya there? These are all ideas come from there only. See, Veda will tell things in a very concise way. Shastras will be concise. It will be in sutra. In fact, Brahma Sutra will be all, a sutra by definition is something which is some 10 letters, that's all. Shastra Yonitvat, that is the second sutra in Brahma Sutra. Atato Brahma Jignasa, that is the first sutra. And Shastra Yonitvat. In fact, the first four sutras, in Chinmaya International Foundation, Velinadu, they have, for the first four sutras, they have 800 pages. Book, 2 volumes. Chatusutri is very famous. Shankaracharya brought it, so famous. In Kashmiri Pandit, this, Abhinav Gupta as Bahmati. It's a great celebrated piece. 4 sutras. We are talking of just 4 sutras, 32 letters or 40 letters in all. Atato Brahma Jignasa, some 8 letters maybe there. Shastra Yonitvat, maybe some 6 letters or 7 letters. Like that, 4, just 4 sutras. This great Kashmiri Pandit Abhinav Gupta wrote a commentary to it called Bhamati. And Chatusutri, Shankaracharya wrote, and people have written some 1000-page commentary on it. So what I am saying is, Shastras will be brought by whom? By those who have experienced it, those who have lived through it. That's why you need a constitutional expert. Governor needs a constitutional expert to decide whether who should be called to form a government. Because constitution will be concise. That's what he is saying here. He is saying how to, what exactly is Dharma and Artha and Kama. To determine that, people will, in Taittiriya Upanishad, that's why in Sikshavali, he says, Etatra Brahmana Sammarshinaha Yukta Ayukta Aluksha Dharma Kama Siho Yatate Tatra Varteran Tata Tatra Varteta. Find out what they are doing. Do accordingly. Sishtachara is very important because they have, they have no axe to grind. They have some people who have selfless, so they have tried to live through it. He says you are going against the grain of that. He says Dharmam Artham va Kamam va Sishtaha Shastreshu Anagatam. They, internalize the Shastra and they Sishtas, right? You should not, We should follow that. They may not be actually declared exactly in Shastras. The Shastras are very cryptic. It will not tell it in so many details. So you have to take that. You have to do in line with contemporary understanding of learned people. It's called Sishtachara. If you don't do it, it becomes Dushtachara. That's the problem. You know, if you live Sishtas, if you say, I will not follow Sishtas, it will be Dushtas then. That is what has happened actually. So he says, Vyavasyanti Rajanam Dharmam. They actually, tell the Rajas, right? They advise them, this is the way you have to actually do. So you should follow that. You are, disregarding everybody's advice. You are disregarding common wisdom. You are disregarding everybody's learned people's advice, and you are doing things. So these are very important for our life. It's very important that it cannot be again the grain of received wisdom, huge common sense. We should never attempt things of that kind. That sometimes can, be a counterproductive thing. Papa swabhavaschapalaha katam tvam rakshasambara aishwaryam abhisampraptaha vimanamiva dushkritihi. Now Valmiki has become, or ED, Enforcement Directorate. He says, how did you get so much of property? That's what he is asking. Aishwaryam abhisampraptaha vimanamiva dushkriti. Disproportional assets. That's what Valmiki, look at what he's saying. He's saying, if you have disproportional assets, it has come out of Papa. He's making very axiomatic statement here. He says, Papaha swabhavas chapalaha katam tom rakshasamra. How can you become great suddenly? Because now their decays. They're asking, how can you account for 800 crores? With 1 crore some 20 years back, how do you become 800 crores? Valmiki shloka, I remember only that when I read this shloka. Aishwaryam abhisampra. Katam aishwaryam samprapta. I know. That's what he's saying. He says, Katam tvam aishwaryam abhisamprapta vimanamiva dushkritihi. All these fancy chariots, and all that, these are all disproportional assets. Disproportional assets means you have done it in an illegal way. Very axiomatic statement that Valmiki is making there. Because this will not change with time. Whether 10,000 years later or 10,000 years before or today, these are all true, na? If you do a simple living, you are able to take care of your thing, do things in a way, you will have a satisfied living. But you cannot accumulate what our politicians are talking of 1,000 crores, 2,000 crores, 10,000 crores. Chidambaram is, I don't know how many zeros we have to put. We need scientific 10 power 26 like that. We need numbers. We can't use Laksha, Koti and all that. We have to use 10 power 13, 10 power 17 like that. We have to use. They're all atomic numbers. That's what he's saying. Look at what a powerful statement Jatayu is making here. He's saying, I know what kind of person you are. You have all these fancy things and you have too much of Aishwarya. These are all come out of Papa. Cannot come in the right way. That's what he's saying here. Kamam swabhavo yo yasya na shakya parimarjitum nahi dushtatmanam aryam avasati alaye chiram. Avasatyalaye chiram. Let me split it, then it becomes easy for you. Nahi dushtatmanam aryam avasati alaye chiram. This is again a very axiomatic statement actually. For that person, kamam yasya swabhavaha yaha parimarjitum na shakyah. For some people, by nature, they are after desire. It is their nature. But in such people, when they accumulate wealth, because the moment you do out of karma, you will do in wrong methods. This follows in a way from that shloka. They are far away in terms of this thing. He says, look at the second line. This is again an axiomatic statement. Nahi dushta atmanam aryam avasati. Avasati, avasati, avasati. Aryam avasati. He says in wicked, in people who have made riches in the wrong way. Dushtas. Okay. Dushtatmanaha. If people made riches in the wrong way, he says it will not stay there for long. Simple. Aryam is actually that prosperity and richness. That's called Arya. Okay. So, nahi dushtatmanam aryam avasati. Dushtatmanam alaye aryam nahi avasati chiram. Forever. For long. He says no. Now, lot of people have not understood this. I know several examples. I don't want to even, we all know. If people do something wrong, they don't know where it hits. It hits their family, it hits their son, it hits their, somewhere it will hit. Dharma is very, very powerful. If you think you are very smart, you are actually foolish. If you think you are smart, you are foolish. Dharma, you don't know how it will give back. So it will have the last law. It will definitely have the last law. Nothing can be better than trying to be as dharmic as possible. It will have the last law. It has such a complex way of giving it back. Either in this Janma itself, we see a lot of examples, otherwise over Janmas. So all these are, foolishness. So he says, Dushtatmanam Aryam Na Avasati Chiram. Again, it's a very axiomatic statement that Jatayu is making. Then you look at some of these beautiful things he's saying. All these we have to reflect on. So this sarga is very good. Habits are hard to change. Na shakyaha parimarjitam. It's not that it needs a tapas. Na shakya means ordinary plane he is talking. If you read Gita, he will say, abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena ta grihyate. So you bring abhyasa and vairagya. These are two pillars. And what is abhyasa? Abhyasa is constant effort, single pointed effort on a chosen theme. That is called abhyasa. What is vairagya? Vairagya is dispassion. That distractive mind has to be first gathered. That is called vairagya. And abhyasa is committed to that thing that you want to do, you will reach. So that he gives an answer for it, actually. He asked, no? Arjuna asked in chapter 6. He says, Vayoryo Sudushkaram. He says, Chanchalam hi manakrishna pramati balavadridam tasyaham nigraham manye Vayoryo Sudushkaram Achanchalam mahabaho manu nudush nigraham balam vairagyena tu kaunteya abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. So it is difficult at a normal plane. Then look at what he is saying. Sabhara saumya bhartavyah yo naram navasadayet tadannamapi bhoktavyam jiryate yadanamayam. So beautiful example. He said you should carry a weight, you should only carry a weight which you can bear. That's the first thing he says. Saha baraha bhartavyah yaha naram na avasade. It doesn't put you down. You should not carry more than what you should be capable of. He is now carrying something more than what he should be, meaning it will destroy him. He says, it is not bara. It is, these are all the things we have to know in life. In life, we should know how much we should, add frills to us. We should add frills to us to the extent we can hold. Right? There is, in mother tongue, there is a saying, the finger can bulge only to the extent of the size of the finger. In Tamil, there is a saying like that. It can only bulge to the size of the finger. You should not bulge beyond that. There is like a saying in my mother tongue like that. Sabaraha bhartavyaha yaha naram na avasade. It should not put you down or throw you down. Foolishly, you should not carry too much. It will destroy you. Weight will be there, you will be gone. That's what many of people try. All this too much of going after and all that sometimes can just destroy. That will that this is gone. Then he says, Tad annamapi book, eat how much you can digest. Don't eat too much. Eat what you can digest. That's the second thing he says. Tat annamapi bhoktavyam jiryate yat anamayam. That which is healthy to you, that much only you should eat. Don't eat too much. Out of kama, out of desire, don't overdo things, it will finish you. These are all very lokaniti actually. Yat kritva na bhave dharmah na kirtirna yasho bhuvi sharirasya bhavet khedah kastat karma samacharet. It's a beautiful idea. He says you have to engage in activities in life. You engage in so many things. Engage meaning, I want to do this, I want to reach this, I want to, achieve this. You can include all of them into this. He says when you go after something, keep this yardstick. What are the yardstick? Yat kritva na bhavet dharma. Suppose doing this does not give you dharma, that's not worth. This is your first checklist. Yat kritva na bhavet dharma. By doing it, it is not dharma. That's not a good idea to do. Na kirtihi. You don't get any kirti by doing it. That's also not of any use. Na yashaha. It doesn't give you any fame. So by doing things which is neither gives you dharma, nor kirti, nor fame, right? All these sharirasya dukkha bhavet. By doing this, you will only strain yourself. You will only destroy your physical and the mental body. Sharira means physical and mental body, both together. Okay? Sharirasya kedaha bhavet. Kahatat karma samajana. Who will engage that kind of activities? Don't engage in such case. You evaluate. Before you get into doing something, evaluate. Is it vitiating dharma? Will it give any yashas? Will it give any kirti? If it is no to all of them, leave it. You will only strain your mental body and physical body, and you will actually, it will be futile. What you're doing will be futility. Don't do things which are futile. Again, it's a very generic sort of an advice that he is giving. Then he says, Sashti Varsha Sahasrani Mama Jatasya Ravana Pitrapaitamaham Rajyam Yatavadanu Anutishtitaha. I have lived for 60,000 years. That's what he says. Sashti Varsha Sahasrani Mama Jatasya. From I am born, I am 60,000 years. Hey Ravana, you are a bacha in front of me. What are you talking about? I have lived, I have ruled my country. So I am not an ordinary man telling you. He is telling him, I'm not one of these fellow who has no exposure in life and who has not even had a kingly or I have my experience in front of me. Your experience will fail in nothing. That's why he is telling about himself. He says 60,000 years. He says 60,000 years I have been there and I have ruled the kingdom which my ancestors have ruled the kingdom. I have gone through it. And then he says, Vriddoham tvam yuva dhanvi sashara kavachirati tata pyadaya vaidehim kushalina gamishyasi. I am a Vriddha. Vriddha means he is Jnana Vriddha, Shila Vriddha, Vayo Vriddha. See, Vriddha can be any form. You can be a Jnana Vriddha. You don't have to, Shankaracharya is a Jnana Vriddha. In 32 years, he was a Jnana Vriddha. Or you can be a Vayo Vriddha. He is also Vayo Vriddha. He is a Shila Vriddha. He has been a king for so many years. Right? He is a Shila Vriddha, Vayo Vriddha, Jnana Vriddha. Whichever way you see, it is like that. So Vriddhaha aham, tvam yuva, you are a young bacha. You have no experience in front of me. On a relative basis, you have nothing in front of me. Tvam yuva. Of course, you have your all that your shashara and your dhanus, all that you have. You are all well equipped with all your weapons. Dhanvi, shashara, kavachi, rata, you have a chariot, you have your protective gear, you have all that you have. Tatapi adaya vaidehim kushalina gamishyasi. Even with all protection that you have, you will not go peacefully with Vaidehi. You can't take and go when I am here. So, see, he advised and then he threatened. He did both. Jatayu did both. He advised him a lot of lokaniti. Also, he told, you can't go. Don't think you can go. I will not let you go. And it's a fierce battle. Apparently, Jatayu cut the 10 hands, 20 hands of Ravana with his beak. That battle, if you read, he inflicted, he killed, he destroyed the chariot profoundly. He destroyed some of his, this Jatayu did all that. He cut his hands, but this fellow, hands came again like that. There are shlokas actually. So next sarga is that actually. 46 verses. First 22 verses, encounter between Jatayu and Ravana gets fierce. And in between, Jatayu once again warns Ravana of the foolishness of his act in carrying away Sita with him. Then the next, that 9 shlokas, is where he inflicts heavy damage on Ravana in terms of physical damage. His chariot is destroyed. Then finally he takes a sword and then cuts Jatayu's wings, and very old, so finally it drops off. That's the kind of Samitra Bandhu Samatyah Sabala Saparichataha Vishapanam Pibasyetat Pipasita Vodakam. See, sa in Sanskrit, I have told this many times. Sa means saha, along with. Sakutumbam means kutumbena saha. Right? Saparivara. Saparivara means parivarena saha. That sa means along with. So here what he says, Samitra Bandhuhu, along with your friends and relatives. Sa Amatyaha, along with the ministers. Sa Balaha, all these your allies. Bala is my strength, meaning my allies. Sa Parichataha, your army. It means along with all of them. That's what sa means, along with. So Samitra Bandhuhu, Sa Amatyaha, Sa Balaha, Sa Parichadaha. And what are you doing? You are Vishapanam Pibasi. You are drinking poison. How? Pipasita. Pipasa means the desire to drink. There is no word like thirst in Sanskrit. There is no word like I want to learn. It's called jignasa. Jnatum ichasi iti jignasa. Patum ichasi iti pipasa. Bhoktum ichati iti pipasa. Kartum ichami iti chikirsha. There's a nice verb structure. If you know that, you can write 100 words like that. That's the power of Sanskrit. Chikirsha. Right? Jihasa. There is a jihasa, chikirsha, bubuksha, pipasa. So that pipasa. Pipasa is a desire to drink, which means I am thirsty. Language expresses like that. So pipasita iva udakam. A thirsty fellow, the way he drinks water, you are actually drinking poison along with all your so and so. You are all en masse drinking poison, just like a person who is very thirsty drinking water. I am drinking water because my throat is strained. That's what Jatayu says. Anubandhamajanantaha karmanamiva chakshanaha shigrameva vinashyanti yatatom vinasishyasi. Again, Valmiki, it's a Lokaniti. Now he is giving a generic principle in life. It is not the story. He has now stepped out. What is he saying? Anubandham ajanantaha. Anubandham means what follows. Consequence. You do something. If you don't know what is the consequence, it's foolishness. You should never do an act without knowing the consequence. I mean, to the best of our knowledge. For example, all that we know may be wrong. That's a different story. But if you go blindfolded, that's a serious thing. That's the meaning here. Anubandham ajanantaha karmanam vichakshanaha. Those who engage in work, right, without knowing the consequences of that, shigrameva vinashyanti. They will destroy very soon. Because it's all foolishness, no? You destroy means the work gets destroyed. You get nothing out of it. In the process, you destroy yourself. That's what. So this is a very generic principle. Anubandham ajanantaha karmanam avichakshanaha shigrameva vinashyanti. After saying that rule, Jatayu says, like the way you are doing. Yata tvam vinasishyasi. You will also in the same way get destroyed very soon because you don't know you are not seeing the consequences. You are engaging in an act without understanding the consequences of the act. That's what he says. Yata tvam vinashishyasi. In the same way, you will also perish. You have not thought about the consequences of what you are getting into. Again, it's a very generic lokaniti. Yata tvaya kritam karma bhiruna loka garhitam taskara charito margah naiva veera nishevitah. He says, you are a taskara, thief. You are not a great king. When those people you went away, when those people went away, you came like a thief, right? Taskara acharitah. Taskara acharitah. Your act is like a low-level act of stealing. You are only stealing Sita actually. You didn't have this thing. Yata toya kritam karma, right? The act that you have done, that you are doing, you have taken her away in the absence of those two people. Yata toya kritam karma, biruna loka garhitam. It is condemned by the whole world. What the way you have done is done because you in a very shamelessly you stole. It was not you showed your vairya. You did not show your veera. You are not a veera, right? Naiva veera nishevitah. You are not a hero. You did not. It was not a heroic act. It was a very shameless, low-level act of stealing. That is what you did. This is something which is not acceptable to the whole world. That's what you have done. Papanubandho vai yasya karmanah. Papanubandho vai yasya karmana karma konutat. This is the advantage of a meter. When I overstep the meter, I couldn't stop. If you know the meter, you will read it properly. I tried and I overstepped. I realized I overstepped. Then I came back because it is in Anushtup. Exactly 8 letters you have to stop. Then only it will be rhythmic. Papanubandho vai yasya. I have to stop there. Karmana karma konutat. Perfectly it falls, 8 it will be there. Kurvita lokadipatihi swayambur bhagavanapi. The anubandha of a karya is papa. An act that you engaged in results in a sin. The consequence of it is a sin. Papa anubandha vai yasya karmanaha karmakaha nutat. Right? Kurvita. They won't do. Because if the consequence is sin, then you are adding to the repository a huge quantity now into the tank, which is a sanchita karma actually. Right? So papa anubandha vai yasya karmanaha karmakaha nutat kurvita. In fact, he says, Lokadibadihi Swayambhuhu Bhagavanapi. Even the Lord of this world, the self-born Swayambhu, Brahman, he will also not do these kinds of things. Because in our scheme of things, anybody does, it's a snake and ladder game. Again, Purana says how he did an act of sin and he was born as a human being. So many stories we are reading. What is that? What are they trying to tell? He's trying to tell nobody is above board. Everybody is governed by their own law of karma. That's why Krishna, and I have quoted it 1,000 times. Chapter 5, 14 sloka in Bhagavad Gita. Na kartrutvam na karmani loke na sujati prabhu. He says, the Lord is not giving you anything. You primed your own actions and results and actions, and na kartrutvam na karmani na karma palam loko sujati prabhu na karma pala sayogam swabhavastu vartate. He says, the effect that you go through, what you get in your life, all these are coming out of your own making. So it is the karma which is binding us. That's why karma is very, very important to understand actually. He says, Swayambhu Bhagavan Api won't do. He also knows he is in a snake and ladder. He'll come down. If you engage, that purified soul goes up to that. That is the meaning. The purified souls get promotion, 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 and goes like that. 52nd Sarga, Ravana injures Jatayu badly after a fiasco. Oh, sorry, I think the title I haven't changed. 44 verses. Sita sorry for Jatayu because Jatayu is almost dead actually. Brahma and sages are happy in some sense at the turn of events. These are all, karmani, karmaha, akarmaha, vikarmaha. There is one 17 sloka in chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita. Gahana karmano gatihi. He says, Krishna says, karma is a very complex thing. You don't understand. What is karma? What is akarma? What is vikarma? You don't, even people, learned people also don't know Gahana karmano gati. So why they are happy, you don't know. There is a very complex game running here. It's not that easy. You can't superficially, we make a lot of judgment. Something happens to, why I'm saying this, something happens to us bad, particularly, then we get too much into this spin. You have no idea. It is a large scheme of things in which so many things happen. Karma is such a complex algorithm which is playing out by the moment. Just because it's throwing a few things this way, that way, we have no business to actually judge all of them. It's a very complex game actually, which we made. Nobody made. We made. We dipped and then brought on back. That we have to understand actually. So why are they happy? I mean, this is a very complex game which is running. Then there is the description of Sita. This again the Kavi. There is a bit of a kavya here. Description of Sita as Ravana was carrying her to Lanka, like a dark cloud, which is like that. So many such kavya darshanas and all, Lankaras and all, you will see that. And then 26 to 44, the slipping of the flowers and ornament from Sita. Description of the state of the living beings. What did the trees feel? What did the animals feel? What did the people feel? These are all kavya. There is a lot of imaginative things of how they all felt when Sita was taken away and gone. Just one shloka we will see. Or maybe a few more. Drishtva Sitam Paramrishtam Deenam Divyena Chakshusha Kritam Karyamiti Shriman Vyajahara Pitamaha. The job is done. Kritam Karyam. Pitamaha is saying, Brahman is saying, now the job is done. He says, Kritam Karyam iti Shriman Vyajahara. He said, now the task is accomplished. We don't know the meaning of it. For us, it is a very bad thing that has happened. Sita has been cruelly taken by Ravana. This is how we understand. That's why he says, Divyena Chakshusha. That deep understanding, that divine vision, we don't get. We have a very narrow vision. We are Alpajna, we are not Sarvajna. So our visions are very narrow, whatever you may say. That's why we don't understand what is happening. So best thing is to leave it to the Lord. Our problem in life is we judge everything, we take a value judgment and destroy ourselves and our near and dear in the process. You should not do it. You need Divya Chakshu. Let's say Divyena Chakshusha Kritam Karyamati Shriman Vyajahara Pitamaha. Drishtva Sitam Paramrishtam Deenam. She is in such a bad shape. Deena Paramrishta. Even after seeing that, okay, the task is accomplished. That's what Brahma is saying. It's a complex thing which we, our life is like that. There are so many interconnected things happening which we brought. Trying to make a value judgment is not a great idea actually. That is a message that we have to take from this. You can't say how, these people have no heart, all that. They are a foolish kind of understanding. That's not the message here. Message is there is a larger scheme of things in everybody's life. It's a divine cosmic vision. Prakrishta, look at this next sloka. Prakrishta vyatitascha san sarve te paramarshayah drishtva sitam paramrishtam dandakaranyavasinah ravanasya vinasham cha praptam buddva yadrichaya. Prakrishta vyatitascha. They were happy and sad. These people were happy and sad. because it is not Pitamaha, it's at the next level. Na? They have a little more wisdom. So, Prahrishta Vetitascha Sarve Te Paramarshayah. Drishtva Sitam Paramrishtam Dandakaranyavasi. Those, the people in the Dandakaranya, those sages and all that, at one level they are happy, at the other level they are sad. They are happy because they know that this Ravana's end will come. They are sad because this lady is going through all that. So that's how it says. Ravanasya Vinasham Cha Praptam Buddhva Edrichaya. So the Prahrishta is Edrichaya. It was an instantaneous feeling of happiness. This fellow will go. With this act, this fellow is finished. That's how they understood, but they were also sad because Paramrishtam Sitam Drishta. So that's what. Nasti dharma kutas satyam narjavam nadrisham sata yatra ramasya vaidehi varyam harati ravanaha iti sarvani bhutani ganasha paryadevayan. Group of people, when they saw this act, what did they say? There is no dharma in this. Nasti dharma. Na satyam. There is no satyam in this. Na arjavam. There is no straightforwardness in this. Arjava is straightforwardness. Rujbhava. There is no straightforwardness in this. Na anrisham. There is only violence. There is no non-violence in this. Right? Na anrisham. Right? So it is neither dharma. It is not satya, it is not straightforwardness, it is not non-violent. This is what this whole act of Sita being taken away by Rama had none of this. This is what people concluded. Right? I just take one slide. Pictorially, I have said Ravana's destroying himself. Pictorially, all these messages I put into one slide. We will just talk with that. So this whole story of Ravana coming to Datakaranya and taking away Sita is a lesson as to how to self-inflict failures and damages, according to me. How can you, without anybody's help, in fact, my opinion, if somebody gets destroyed, it is their making, not anybody else's making. They only made it. I call it as Bhasmasura technology. If you want it in a simple way, that's what I call it. They only do it. They only did, no, he only forced on Maricha, he only discarded. So, what are all things Ravana did here? He ignored all advices. Everybody advised. How many people are doing? In Yuddhakanda, you will see. Goes on and down this story. He ignored all advices. He transgressed established norms of Dharma. He went against the grain of Shastras and received wisdom. This is the third thing, right? He was overpowered by ego, endowed with a lot. I mean, these people with too much of ahankara, if they also have power and endowment and all that, that's sure destroy them. In the process, 1,000 good fishes will die, but they will get destroyed. That will happen. So overpowered by ego, but endowed with power, resources, and skill, he has everything. Correct? No sense control. Driven by deep desire, kama, all that. If people have any of these, right? This is what this moral of this story. This episode is telling us, if people bring all these to the table in some combination, they are bound to end up with catastrophic failures and losses only. There is no other way. Nanyapanta vidyate ayanaya. We have to use that Purusha Suktasya. Nanyapanta, na anyapanta vidyate. There is no other road. The road is only for disaster, which is what Ravana has actually demonstrated in this part of. I thought I will just summarize all of them with this kind of thing. Yes. Okay, we will stop here. Swasti prajabhya paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha go brahmanebhyo shubhamastu nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu kale varshatu parjanyah prithvi sasyashalini deshoyam kshobarahito brahmana santu nirbhayah aputra putrinas santu putrinas santu pautrinas adhana sadhana santu जीवन्तु शरदां शतं शृण्वन् रामायणं भक्त्या यः पादं पदमेव वा स याति ब्रह्मणस्थानं ब्रह्मणा पूज्यते सदा हरिः ओम्. Next week I am traveling, so we will not have class. No? We will have it